Henshaw here again, your constitutional kook from the San Francisco Peninsula, still on an extended trip out here in Iowa, with things beginning to look a lot better here too. But that said, the subject for discussion today is going to be evictions. And wouldn't you know, this looks like the next hotspot when 9/0 parks come back into session the first Monday in October. And they've done a lot in that area already the last couple of 3 terms, but it hasn't looked that way. But the rulings they've made against the administrative state, particularly Axon v. FTC, unanimous 9-0 decision, you read that without knowing what you're reading. You would assume that's about evictions because it's just as bad. What the system has done is volunteered you into an administrative state, with no right to trial by jury, no judicial court, no neutral magistrate, no nothing. And they throw you out of there even with the jury. And I went through that with my quasi-family last year, about which more later in this video. And they get the job done. Probably the conviction rate, such as it is 99.5%. And who the hell knows what it takes to beat one of the bastards in their system. Now we know how to do it, however, because with these landlords, and most of them are big corporate landlord types that come in there with their attorneys and this, that, and the other. And we have a lot of constitutional objections that cover all 6 articles of the Constitution. We can challenge them. They don't have any standing in any judicial court. The agreement we allegedly signed is null and void, nunc pro tunc ab initio, for failure of a full disclosure. In any event, the subject matter is beyond the jurisdiction of a state judicial court because it deals with Federal Reserve notes, aka undefined dollars. If defined, they're only defined by the president acting as commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And that's a jurisdiction no state court can exercise, admiralty and maritime. And it just gets worse from there. So that said, there's a lot you can do. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, for information, about what I'm doing with evictions. And I have, at the moment, a multi-million-dollar filed federal default judgment against an attorney for a landlord because I knew what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And that judgment could get a whole lot worse based on recent events that didn't exist last year when all this crap came down. You can do the same thing. And by the way, even those of you that have been evicted and gone through the process and have been thrown out and are living somewhere else, there's no statute of limitations on deceit, fraud, and treason, which we can prove with a daunting amount of relevant, admissible, documentary evidence. That said, send me an email for more information, uwinnincourt@gmail.com. We're going to absolutely love it. This is exactly what those racist framers set up with the original Constitution and the original intent. We're in a principal and agent relationship with these bastards, not guardian and ward, otherwise known as master and slave. All you active civil rights supporters, get over it. 14th Amendment doesn't exist, civil rights don't exist, and they never did. Ruled contemporaneously unconstitutional by the Supreme Court of the United States. And that was the correct ruling. How far they got, nobody knows, because it's not allowed to announce the opinion. Congress withdrew jurisdiction, almost certainly what they're threatening to do now to the court on the appellate side. But when we go there, we're not going on the appellate side. We're going in the original jurisdiction. Congress's hands off. That's where the big remedies are. But that said, we have a lot of bargaining leverage against even these big corporate landlords, because we can threaten with attitude and with authority to get their charter either suspended or withdrawn and put them out of business. That's how good this is. All the acts of treason that they knowingly commit here, but nobody is ever aware of it because they didn't teach you any more than they did me 50-odd years ago in the mandatory public education system. And all their damn state bar association attorneys aren't going to raise issues like this, even if they know them. That's an irreconcilable conflict of interest. And think about this, the black robe bastard is also a state bar attorney. And they have irreconcilable conflicts, because if we succeed like we should, it's going to take their malignant, malevolent monopoly of practice of law without a license and throw it out the window. They're out of business, and they damn well should be. That's the power we have. And it's what I thought, by the way, in closing, in my South Carolina case 7 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying that, where they hauled me across the country. It took 2 months to get from the library I was arrested in California to Columbia, South Carolina. Could have got me there in 8 hours on TWA. Got there courtesy of 4 federal unmarked military aircraft, which I could get on without ID, interestingly enough. And I finally get there. We have the quote-unquote arraignment. And I'm standing there manacled hand and foot in a red jail suit, which I found out later was people charged with murder. And they read the charge, practicing law without a license. I laughed. I said, I don't practice it. I get it right the first time. And the judge, who turned out to be one of the good ones, oddly enough, said, well, we have to check you out and be sure you're competent to represent yourself. If I could have thrown up my hands, I would have, Faretta v. California, Judge. Faretta v. California, 422 U.S. 860. The problem with that is the Supreme Court ruled in Barron v. Baltimore, 7 Peters, 243, 1828, the Bill of Rights doesn't apply to the state. Got the bastards up in 90 seconds. That's $1 million video if I had it, which they claim not to have made in a court record, by the way. But that's how good I am. And another reason I'm looking, by the way, for investment capital, and people that can make connections from me too. So if you know some of those, let me know. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. The portfolio I have is unbelievable what I can do. I'm blessed with it. And a lot of help from upstairs. Thank you. And it's a lot more than just a good memory. It's perspective. And it took me a long time to get it. My job is to teach you to get it a lot quicker than I did. Once you understand that simple fact, the relationship we're supposed to have with government, what it's supposed to be doing, that changes it all and gets you out there with the ability to make changes for yourself, your family, and your posterity. Juries will react positively to that, and the Supreme Court at the moment has our backs the first time in 90 years. For more information, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. Meanwhile, subscribe, like the videos, get the word out. Thank you.